Hello and good afternoon, everyone. It's Thursday, July 16th, 2026, and the time is 2:31 p.m. Will the Committee on Government Efficiency and Customer Services meeting please come to order? I'd like to welcome Council Members Cordero and Nishimoto. Councilmember Wire is excused today. Pursuant to Section 92-3.7 of the Hawaii Revised Statutes, this meeting will be conducted as a remote meeting by interactive conference technology with the following procedures in effect for the meeting. Members of the public will be allowed to provide oral testimony on all items on the agenda when the agenda item is taken up in two ways: in person in the council chamber and remotely via video conference or phone. Before testifying, each person shall state their name for the record. Each speaker may not have anyone else read their statement and will be limited to a 1-minute presentation on each item. All persons who registered to testify in person will be called upon first. Persons who have not registered will be given an opportunity to testify following the registered testifiers. Once in-person testimony has concluded, I'll proceed to remote testimony via video conference or phone. When I call your name or the last 3 digits of your phone number, please follow the prompts to unmute. As both English and Hawaiian are the official languages of the state of Hawaii pursuant to Article 15, Section 4 of the state constitution, and HRS Section 1-13, members of the public may testify in either language. For oral testimonies offered in Olelo, Hawaii, additional time, as may be necessary, will be allowed for the testifier to provide an English translation of their testimony. HRS Section 92-3.7 requires that all votes at a remote meeting be conducted by a roll call unless unanimous. Therefore, I'll first call for objections, and if there are any, I'll call for a roll call vote. Written testimonies, including the testifier's address, email address, and phone number, will be available to the public as described in the posted agenda. And as a courtesy, please turn off or silence all cell phones for the duration of this meeting. We have one agenda item today, which is an update by the Department of Customer Services on the upgrade of its driver's license card production system. We have the Director of Customer Services, Kim Hashiro, here, who will be providing us with a brief presentation. A copy of the presentation has been distributed, and it will be available online as Departmental Communication D/491 of 2026. But before we get to the presentation, let's get testimony out of the way. Clerks, do we have any registered testifiers on this item or anyone waiting to testify?
Chair, we have one testifier.
Okay.
In person.
Anything?
Oh, yeah, I'm a fan of the DMV process.
Okay, and your name for the record?
Oh, Angela Melody Young.
Thank you, Angela. All right. Anyone else? Going once, going twice, going 3 times? Okay. There being none, we'll close testimony and now hand it off to the director.
Hi, good afternoon, Chair Dos Santos Tam and members. Kim Hashiro, Director for the Department of Customer Services. Thank you for having us here today to provide an update on our card production upgrade project. The current driver's license design has been in place since 2009, and from a technology standpoint, back then we used flip phones, BlackBerry devices, and iPhone 3s. But they're considered very outdated 17 years later. So the same goes for our card production system. And the reason why we need to update it is because the hardware and software are obsolete. New cards have stronger security features. It'll provide a streamlined operational system for our customers and employees. It'll increase online functionality for customers. And it will result in faster production and delivery of cards. What has been issued to this point is just the new card design, and I wanted to clarify that this is only a part of this project. The other part of this project or phase of this project is actually replacing the hardware and software used to produce the cards. And we are still in the process of thoroughly testing the new hardware and software system before we go live. So, as you're very familiar, this is the technology used to produce the 2009 card design. It involves printing ink on paper and then applying a laminate over that paper, fusing it together. So essentially what happens is this is not a solid card substrate, and it can separate into layers. The updated design results in a solid piece of polycarbonate. There's no peeling of layers. The photo and the data are laser engraved. Anti-counterfeit patterns are embedded in the design or used to produce colors. New translucent windows are applied, And there are anti-counterfeit patterns to create shapes and colors throughout the card. National DMV updated standards were incorporated into this new layout. Microtext incorporated into the design makes it much more difficult to replicate than solid bands of color. This is a close-up of the body of the card. It's a little hard to see, but if you'll notice, there's no solid blocks of color. There are just dots, circles, lines, text that actually comprise the design. And this is why, with this new card type, we cannot replicate the existing card design exactly. It's a completely different type of technology. Some of the new features include unique anti-counterfeit patterns incorporated into the design elements. So for example, UV light is required to see images on the front and back of the card for law enforcement, but this is what TSA will see. So on the front of the card, it has a state seal. On the back of the card, it has the county seals. And it has traditional island names in microtext. When feeling the card, you can actually feel the raised printed text. And the state flag is a hologram image. Real ID markings will also be updated. So we're going from the gold circle with the star to a black circle with the star, and this is a Real ID update. And for credentials that do not meet Real ID standards, the phrase "not for federal purposes" will be imprinted. For those under 21, their cards will continue to be vertical, and over will include the traditional horizontal format. So I just wanted to make sure everyone understands that existing cards are still valid until they expire. And we're applying and actually holding to the 6-month renewal window. So customers can renew up to 6 months ahead of their expiration date. And we also continue to highly encourage customers to make Aloha Q appointments for faster service. The system itself, moving away from the card design, the system, once implemented and upgraded, will streamline the process for customers. So right now, we have separate photo windows and processing windows. In the future, once we upgrade, each window will consolidate the entire process start to finish. So we're going to increase our capacity. We're not going to have customers have to stand in multiple lines, and they should experience a much more streamlined process in our office. For our employees, photos currently require them to zoom in, use a certain background, crop, focus, and it'll turn into a one-click process for our employees, so much faster. And also the documents that customers bring in that we upload into our system, those will be scanned and then auto-identified. So the system will say, this looks like a passport. It'll identify that. Our staff will just need to verify, and they can override if they need to. And for customers, the online status portal, this is something new that we've been working on. So what's going to happen is from our website, there will be a portal. They enter a unique ID number that's going to be provided on their temporary receipt, and they will be able to see the card production status up until mailing. The temporary document will replace what is traditionally seen as a paper version of the plastic card. And this is more secure because it doesn't replicate the actual card. So this is an image of what the full-size temporary document will look like. And what we're going to be doing is taking the current cards, hole punching it, and returning it back to the customers. So they will walk away with an invalidated card and a new temporary document. But what we want to remind everyone is that TSA does not accept temporary documents or invalidated cards like hole punch cards for travel. So they will need to ensure either renew early and make sure you get your new card in the mail before traveling, or check the TSA website for what is acceptable in terms of documentation. So in addition to monitoring production on our website, the 6 to 8 weeks that we currently tell customers it will take to get their plastic will be reduced down to 4 to 5 weeks. The other change is that right now, the cards arrive in a blank envelope, and all the counties have agreed that a DMV address will be imprinted on the return address area of the envelope, so it won't be mistaken for junk mail. If customers are not able to renew their cards within 6 months, they will be able to request a duplicate online. And this is a pure duplicate, no changes to name, address, or any data on the card, but they will be able to go to our website, type in some information. There's a $7 duplicate fee, and that will be mailed directly to them. So on our website, we have information posted regarding the new card, and frequently asked questions are listed. We also have an explainer video. So as I've mentioned before, we're trying to make videos as much as possible to share information. And we will provide updates as we progress through this project. And when we get close to actually changing out our hardware and software, there will be information that will be shared. And thank you for your attention, and I'll take any questions.
All right, members, any questions? Councilmember Cordero.
Thank you, Chair DeSantis Tam. Hi, Director Hashiro. Thank you very much for that information. I looked at the presentation before you presented, and it definitely changed my mind about the design and process and everything. So thank you for that, as well as explaining it at an earlier council meeting before. So when neighbors do submit their requests, they are selecting renewal, right? It's not going to be for a whole new driver's license or permit, correct?
So this card is being applied to renewals as well
Okay.
as new cards.
Okay, understood. Thank you. I just want to make sure because I had someone from the community association ask, like, "Oh, since it's a new card, do I gotta select it as a new identification card?"
No,
I
they
said,
would just
"No,
go
no."
ahead and renew.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And I do like the black and white. I don't need to wear makeup then, so you can't even tell if I get blush or not. So that's good. What is the timeline then for the future streamline process to take effect?
So currently, and last year when we talked about the system, we were targeting spring to go live. But as with any IT project, what's most important is that we do thorough data migration testing. So we have data right now, many records of data in our current system, and we need to migrate all of that over to the new system, and we need to test to make sure that everything has come over properly. So we're in the middle of doing that right now. That is the last major phase in this project, and we hope to go live in a few months.
Okay. And does that mean, are we collecting any newer data than we've collected before?
No, it's the same data. And so in our current system, we have any document that was previously presented, and that's what we're testing to make sure that that has migrated over properly.
Understood. So in your discussions and in working with the other counties and the state, was there any possible need for future other information that would need to be collected? I know we were talking about other types of data to possibly collect back in the budget committee earlier this week. So I was wondering if there's that opportunity with the new system.
Right now, when we go live with the new system, it'll be the existing data
Okay.
that will be brought over. But there is future opportunity for that as long as it can fit on the card.
Can fit on the card. Oh, okay.
Yes.
What if no need fit on the card, but can fit on the system information that we have on hand or on the software?
So in the software itself, there are the fields that are capturing the data. And yes, there's always potential in the future if we need to capture additional data, like phone numbers or emails. The system will be expanded to house that type of data, which we don't automatically collect right now.
Okay, got it. And then I got a Instagram direct message asking about the designs and the inner text. They were asking if it was supposed to be absolutely uniform for all the identification cards, or if there's like going to be any slight changes, because they're just worried about like if it doesn't look the same when they have to go through TSA or something like that.
Yeah, for the new card format, it would be identical as far as the background. And thank you for bringing up the laser engraved photo, because that is very similar in the black and white to a passport. So it is considered a secure, standard government ID type of photo. As far as what TSA scans, we did test a number of cards at TSA in this new card format. And we're making sure that the barcodes work, that the data was shown. And so that checked out for us. And we will continue to do that type of testing as we move through this project.
Okay, got it. Another question that I got from a neighborhood security watch was, are we allowed then to keep the hole punch temporary cards after we get the new cards issued, or not? Because one senior neighbor said that they got it taken away from them.
So currently, in the current process, yes, we do not hole punch and we do not issue back the renewed credential. But with this new system, we're going to start doing that. And that's actually something that was done prior.
Yeah.
So we're reverting back to that. And part of it is because we understand that the new temporary document looks very different.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned, it is because we're trying not to issue something that someone could replicate easily. So the solution to that, to make the public feel more comfortable that, yes, they have this temporary document, but we'll hole punch now their old credential and give it back to them.
Oh, wonderful. That's great to hear. Thank you. And even though my current driver's license is peeling already, like you said, the layers, I taped them and everything, I still would like to keep it. So that's great to hear. And so thank you very much for that information. And sorry, I forgot to write down when you mentioned about the timeline for the streamline process.
So,
what was that again?
So we're in the process of testing, the data migration right now, and if all goes well, we're looking at a few months into the future. So I'm looking at fall.
Oh, okay, fall. Okay, good to know. I will tell my Honolulu neighbors. Thank you. Okay.
Councilmember Nishimoto, any questions? Okay, if not, I have a few. With regard to this year's budget and last year's budget, last year, the line item for ID cards was $1.3 million, and this year was $1.39 million. Is that due in any way to these new cards being more expensive, or there being a new contract, or is it simply just an inflation thing, postage, all the other things?
So it's a combination of everything, but we are currently paying the same rate that we've been paying for quite some time now. When we go live with the new system, there will be an increase, so we pay a cost per card amount statewide. All the counties do that based on however many cards are produced for their county. And so that budget item does reflect that increase. And we are in a multi-year contract, so that will continue to increase gradually over the years, because this upgrade is something that was not fronted and paid for upfront. So it's built into the cost per card.
Okay. And then it was also noted that in both the FY26 and FY27 budgets, CSDs requested and spent about $165,000 on courtesy renewal notices. Have we thought about a text message version or an email version you can opt out, something like that?
So we actually are moving towards trying to go as paperless and as electronic as possible. And those mailers are actually quite significant in cost to print and mail. And so part of the challenge is what Councilmember Cordero asked about is collecting email addresses. So right now, we don't have everyone's email address, so we would need to establish a process, but I definitely want to move towards that and move away from the paper. And this would be not only for annual motor vehicle registration renewal, but also for driver's license renewal, which is, much spread apart, the timing on that versus every year. But someone did bring up a point to me how safety checks, we don't get renewal notices for safety checks, but yet customers rely on the registration renewal and the driver's license renewal. And I'd like to help change that mindset and rely on an electronic process, or even in the same way that people remember that they need to do their safety checks.
And I guess that this would be important too, because people do move. I mean, in the course of your driver's license being valid for 10 years, and you might not update it immediately, and these postcards would bounce back. I guess I'm glad to hear that you're thinking about doing that, because if we cut that cost in half, that's $1 million over the course of 10 years.
Yes.
So that would be very beneficial. Are you aware of any major instances of driver's license fraud? I mean, I imagine some of the bars in Chinatown probably get these from time to time, and in Waikiki. But I mean, is this a big issue in the community? People forging driver's licenses?
So I don't think it's a big issue in the community. I think it exists, and online you can order almost anything, including a fake ID, I'm told. And so what we're trying to do is really protect personal information for our customers and make it as secure as possible. We're not going to be able to reduce all of that, but hopefully with these improvements that it will be much more difficult to do. And that's why I wanted to show you up close, what it takes to produce this card and why it doesn't look like what it used to. And all of that is going towards trying to increase security and provide a more tamper and counterfeit-proof credential.
Yeah, I was surprised to learn that my current driver's license, probably all of our current driver's licenses, is literally, a piece of paper sandwiched between plastic.
Yes, and that's why it does separate. So this is a solid piece of polycarbonate, and it is going to be much more durable.
And then I know that CSD here in Honolulu, we manage this for the neighbor islands. They pay in, they're timely in their payments, right?
Well, they pay the price per card also. So everyone is paying at the same rate, part of the same contract. And their volume is much lower than Honolulu. Of course, we have a much higher population. We're also the lead for the state. So we administer the contract. We're involved in the procurement and the management of that contract, but we do heavily involve the counties. They've been in so many meetings along with state DOT.
And then my last question before I turn it back to my colleagues if they have any second round questions is, in the case of a major disaster where people lose, 100,000 people lose their identification documents, passports, birth certificates are in the safe somewhere. Do we have plans to be able to get people their IDs in a timely way?
So this new system is definitely going to speed that up, and being able to request duplicates quickly is going to help the community for sure. The other part is getting off the mainframe. And I've also mentioned this because the mainframe technology is really limiting our ability to offer different kinds of online and electronic services and even remote services. So Director McKee and I and some of our staff went to Arizona DMV not that long ago, and they have a mobile MVD unit. So it's this huge RV that actually, after coming back and seeing what happened with the Kona lows, I can see something like that. It's very exciting to me to think about having a mobile unit out in the community. And not only could we drive to locations where service has been discontinued, but we could also utilize it in remote areas where there is no DL or satellite location, or to supplement our existing locations. So there's a lot of functionality, and it provides a lot of flexibility, and it helps us move into this electronic kind of environment that we are so desperately wanting to move into. And the support that we need for that project is critical to being able to do that, because the current mainframe is very limiting in terms of what we're able to offer. Online services and just being able to branch out into different kinds of technology. So that project, if we get that done, we can definitely, I think we could do a lot for the community, and they would really appreciate it. And situations like that, we would definitely be able to provide much better service.
Good. Members, any other questions? Councilmember Cordero.
Thank you, Chair DeSantis Tam. Hi, Director Hashiro. I was just wondering, so you're looking for data migration, and then you'll be able to, I guess, say that everything's going to be in the new streamlined process. But do you anticipate that there's still going to be like some strays, not strays, I don't want to call people strays, but people who still need to be migrated to the new system?
So our goal is to migrate all the data over before we go live.
Before.
Yes, that is our goal. That being said, as we go through this process, if there is a need to modify that plan in some way, we will definitely look at it. At this point, what's most important is the customer's experience and the customer information that's needed to renew is there. Because for new customers, they're going to have to bring in their documentation.
Yes.
Right? So part of what the renewal process entails is that we do ask all customers to bring in their information regardless of whether or not they've renewed before or gotten a DL before. But we do look at the data in the existing system, so that helps with validation. And but the goal is to have it all come over.
Okay,
Definitely.
Got it. Thank you. I was wondering if it's like, is there a percentage of what would be considered full data migration, and then we would go to the new system? That's good to know. And I guess that answers my other question then. But I totally just made my Aloha Q appointment already for October, so I'm excited about that. Thank you. 6 months ahead of my birthday, so.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. All right. Sensing no other questions here, thank you for your presentation. Members, discussion? Hearing none, that brings us to the end of our agenda. So thanks for everyone for being here today. It is 2:59 p.m. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.